Hi, welcome back and thanks for joining us here today. I'm Jamie and I am a blues disciple. Now please join me for a little while to hear some excellent blues music from some of the masters of the blues. Blues Disciples is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and please note that earphones or earbuds will definitely enhance your listening pleasure. And if you're listening to this podcast through our website, you can click on the playlist to expand its size for easier viewing of the playlist and the featured artist. Today, our first artist is Mr. Jontavius Willis, who was born in West Georgia in 1996, making him 27 years old. Jontavius grew up singing gospel music alongside his grandfather in their Baptist church in Greenville, Georgia. When he was 14 years old, Jontavius saw a YouTube video of blues legend Muddy Waters performing Hoochie Coochie Man and immediately caught the blues fever. For the most part, Jontavius Willis is self-taught with guitar, blues harp, and 5-string banjo. One of his mentors, Taj Mahal, described Jontavius as his wonder boy and a wonder kind. At this point, Jontavius has several albums under his belt and has won numerous Blues Foundation Blues Music Awards for his albums and songs. Jontavius' latest album, 2024's West Georgia Blues album, was produced by Jontavius and recorded at Capricorn Studios in Macon, Georgia. This album contains 15 excellent songs written by Jontavius Willis. On one of our earlier interviews with Jontavius, podcast number 46, I had asked Jontavius how he got started in music and chose to focus on the blues.
Well, my first experience with music, as far as I can remember, was singing behind my grandfather at church when I was 3 years old. Around the age of 9 or 10, I started to take lessons for piano. And then about 11 or 12, I did trombone. Started guitar at 14 and harmonica at 17 and banjo, a little bit of banjo at 18. I stuck with the latter three and let go of the first two.
That's quite a plethora of instruments there. Breaking into the big time, how did you get an invite up to the stage when Taj Mahal was doing his performance in Atlanta?
Well, he had seen a video of me and heard about the video and watched it and enjoyed it. So, and didn't know we were any young folks from down south and that were, from the culture doing the thing. And so he was like, I got a show. I thought that he would just want me to come to the show. Later on, insisted that I get up and do 2 songs. That's kind of how it started. Yeah, my dad and my friend, we went to the concert together and sat right on the side of Todd.
Now here is Jontavius Willis with his Charlie Brown Blues.
I can look at your grocery and tell what you're trying to cook, pretty baby. What you making sure ain't in the book. Open up your sack and just let me look. Oh, what you making sure ain't in the book. I'm gonna get up in the morning and do like Charlie Brown, pretty baby. Wait, my mama, make my way downtown. You can't see her face, so you never see a frown. I'm gonna break away with my mama, make my way downtown. Said your bulldog done got old and the fool refused to bite, pretty baby. Now, yeah, that's the truth. I'll be by tonight. I ain't trusting in mama, so keep that chain tight. Now, if that's the truth, now mama, I'll be by tonight. Want you to take this picture, mama, and put it under your head, pretty baby. Now, when you think about me, I'll halfway be in your bed. Hear everything you and your old man done said. When you think about me, I halfway been your old man. Let me be your little joker until your big joker come around. Pretty baby, now I can't be beat till he back in town. And it don't matter, mama, what nobody else put down. And I can't be beat till he back in town. Said you gon' bake me a cake, but the eggs done got too high. Pretty mama, well, I ain't got no money, ain't nothing I can buy. Guess I go in the kitchen, make me a humble pie. Said ain't got no money, ain't a thing I can buy.
A few months back, we had a joint interview on our podcast number 245 with major blues legend Mr. John Primer and the great blues harp genius Mr. Bob Corritore. These two gentlemen have been performing and collaborating on various projects for more than 10 years, and on that podcast, we shared a few of their remarks and the music from their latest album collaboration titled Crawlin, Kingsnake. But first, a little about John and Bob. John Primer was born in 1945 and started plucking at a diddley bow on the side of his house when he was 4 years old, and then he would borrow his cousin's guitar whenever he had a chance and taught himself how to tune it and play it. Mr. Primer didn't get his own guitar until after he had moved from Mississippi to Chicago when he was 18 years old. Over his career, John had been a principal member and band leader for blues greats Muddy Waters and Magic Slim before focusing on his own solo career. Self-taught blues harp great Bob Corritore was born in 1956 in Chicago, where he studied and learned blues harp as a teen by listening to and watching blues harp masters like Junior Wells and Big Walter Horton. Bob moved to Phoenix in the 1980s and has played with and produced recordings with many blues legends and artists. On their Crawlin Kingsnake album, John and Bob pulled together a great team of blues artists, including John Primer with his excellent vocals and slide guitar, Bob Corritore with his brilliant blues harp, Bob Strozier and his steady electric bass, Jimmy Primetime Smith with his great guitar work and supporting vocals, Anthony Gerasi with his piano, and Wes Starr kept it all together with his drums. Here from our interview, John introduces and the band performs their rendition of the title song from their new album, Crawlin Kingsnake. How about John Lee Hooker's Crawlin Kingsnake, your album title?
Yeah, well, you know, it was my earliest song when I was young, and I heard you could hear my uncle and them when I was in Mississippi there, and they were out in their cotton field and stuff singing. So I got it from them. I didn't know who made the song, you know. I love that song, and it's a good song. And I started hearing Muddy Waters sing it, and so I got the idea to sing it when I heard Muddy sing. I like the way Muddy did it, because John Lee Hooker, he do songs, great songs, but he's strange the way he do them. I'm gonna crawl into your door. You got everything I want. I'm gonna curl up on your floor, 'cause I'm a crawling king snake. And dear. I don't want to catch you fool around with my baby. Use you to be my friend. I'm gonna crawl into your window. I'm gonna crawl into your bed. Think about the good thing and the word that you I said. Cause I'm a crawling Kingsnake and I rule my den. I don't want to catch you fool around with my baby. I'm gonna use you to be my friend. I'm gonna keep on crawling, baby, until the day I die. Well, I'm a crawling Kingsnake, and I rule my den. I don't wanna catch you fool around with my baby. Use you to be my friend.
Now we'll hear from a very talented gentleman born in the Boston area in 1951 and who grew up with a love of the blues, and importantly, he had the talent and capabilities to allow him to perform and work with some of the very greatest blues legends of all time. That gentleman is guitarist, producer, and entrepreneur Mr. Peter Malick. Peter started playing guitar early in life, and by his teens, he proved he was ready for an incredible journey into the heart of the blues. So I'm going to jump ahead a few years here to the spring of 1969 when Peter Malick had his first opportunity to record with blues legends Mr. Otis Spann, Mr. Johnny Young, Mr. Luther Georgia Boy Snake Johnson, and Mr. S.P. Leary in New York for early blues and movie legend Miss Victoria Spivey's Spivey Records. Hear from my interview with Peter Malick on our podcast number 239. Peter tells us how the resulting April 1969 album titled The Everlasting Blues vs. Otis Spann came about, and I introduce Otis Spann's great composition, I'm a Bad Boy.
So this all happened, there was this 1 week that I think it was maybe more than a week, might have been a couple of weeks that I played with Spann at the Cafe A Go-Go in Greenwich Village. And it was a quartet. It was Spann, S.P. Leary, Johnny Young, who was quite a fascinating character himself, the world's only blues mandolinist, and then myself. So when I got there, I think I went up to Spann's room. We all stayed at the Albert Hotel, which was kind of like the rock and roll hotel for rock and rollers who couldn't afford the Chelsea Hotel. And Victoria was sitting in there when I walked in, I guess the first time I went up to the hotel. And she was quite a character. I mean, I liken her to the blues version of Nora Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. it's exactly what she was. She was living in this world that was, like when she was this famous singer, which had been in the 30s. So it had been like 30 something years ago, but she was quite a character. And so she was like, you know what, Pete, we're going to make a record. We're going to make a record. And I was, okay. And I didn't really, the first time I met her, I really didn't know the whole thing, but I quickly learned more about her. So some days later, she was like, okay, we're going to meet tomorrow at noon. Here's the address. And the address was the Nola Penthouse Studios, which was on, the penthouse of this midtown skyscraper. Maybe wasn't a skyscraper, but it was a fairly tall building. And Nola had an incredible history, too. There were a lot of, the early Candid label jazz records were recorded there, and they did a lot of really cool stuff there. They had, at the time, kind of the state of the art in recording was 8-track tape. Nola had a 3-track tape, but she didn't want to spend the money on the 3-track tape. So basically, we recorded that album straight to mono. It was like, recorded, it's done. And so it was just really, we kind of winged it, is what it was. And one of the things that happened, which sort of give you an idea of, what about the times and so forth. So Spivey, Victoria, was walking through the studio and tripped over Luther, Snake Johnson's guitar cord, and broke the cord. So she was very upset about that. But anyway, there wasn't another guitar cord in the entire studio. So that's why some of the tracks on the record, Snake isn't playing guitar because he had no way to play guitar. And then at the end, she gave us all an envelope with $30 in it. We got $30 for the record, and that was it. It was like, it was super fun, but it was totally just like, okay, let's do this song. What do you think? Okay, fine, let's do it. And then it was done.
Now, from that April 1969 recording session, here is Victoria Spivey, Otis Spann, Johnny Young, Luther Georgia Boy, Snake Johnson, Peter Malick, and S.P. Leary with Otis's I'm a Bad Boy.
Come on, baby. Me sing. Yeah. I lost my voice running around in the village. Chicago, Tighter.
You did the blue last night. I can't even get her to do the blues tonight for me. Well, I tell you, dude, let her listen to me. Somebody let me know. Lord, if I've been a bad boy, please somebody let me know. While I'm leaving in the morning, I won't be back no more. I got the blues. I'm gonna pack my I got the blues. Gonna pack my clothes and go. Sure enough, I did. Well, I'm leaving town, I'm alone. No down the road. Watch out, Snake. wish I was a jolly yard.
Now we have my friend and our queen of the blues and legend in the making, Miss Diunna Greenleaf, who was blessed to be born into a large family rich with love and music in 1957. Diunna and her band Blue Mercy first won the Blues Foundation's International Blues Challenge in 2005, and Miss Greenleaf won her first Blues Music Awards in 2008. Now from Miss Diunna Greenleaf's latest album titled I Ain't Playin', which was released through the nonprofit Little Village Foundation's label, this song is a Coco Taylor classic that Diunna really makes her own. On it, Diunna's great vocals are accompanied by album producer Mr. Kid Anderson on guitar, Little Village's Mr. Jim Pugh on keyboard, Mr. Jerry Germont on bass, Mr. Jeff Lewis on trumpet, Mr. Aaron Linkton on tenor sax, Mr. Mike Renta on trombone, and Mr. Derek Demar Martin on drums on Never Trust a Man.
Mama told me, girl, don't never trust no man. Told me, girl, you just can't trust no man. But I was wild at the time. People and I just didn't understand. Now that I'm grown, I know what mama was trying to do. Aside, I can't count the nights I wish for mama and cried. Mama told me, girl, you just can't trust no man. But I was wild at the time. People and I just didn't understand. First it was a misused and then pushed aside. I can't count the nights I wish for mama and cried. Mama told me, girl, don't never trust no man. But I was wild at the time. People and I just didn't understand.
Next up, we have a very good contemporary blues artist and master guitarist, Mr. J.P. Soars, who is originally from Arkansas, and his love of the blues was initiated through a chance introduction to B.B. King at one of Mr. King's concerts back in 1988. J.P. Soars and his band, the Red Hots, won the Blues Foundation's International Blues Challenge in 2009. In addition, at the same challenge, J.P. took home the Foundation's Albert King Award for Best Guitarist that year. Since 2009, J.P. has recorded several albums which demonstrate his enormous talents and creativity. J.P. Soars' latest album, 2024's Brick by Brick album, has 11 original songs by J.P. and the Red Hot Band, anchored by J.P.'s longtime acclaimed drummer Chris Pete, who also plays bass. Joining J.P. and Chris on the album is Bob Taylor on Hammond B3, Rockin' Jake Jacobs on blues harp, Jeremy Staska on percussion, along with Terry Hank on sax. Ann Harris then adds her beautiful violin throughout the album. Backup vocals are provided by Paul Deslaries and Annika Chambers. Now from our recent conversation, J.P. Soars introduces this spiritual titled, The Good Lord Will Provide.
Yeah, that little thing I came up with, that was the first thing I came up with, when the pandemic happened, after they announced, okay, things are going to be shut down. We don't know when. And I remember taking my amplifiers out of my van because I always keep my gear in the van, most of it, my amps and everything. They never leave the van unless they're, unless I'm at a gig. But anyway, so, once they announced that, I was like, okay. And all the gigs started canceling and getting canceled, and of course, and I said, okay, let me pull my amplifiers out of the van. And I pulled them out of the van, set them in my living room, and I just remember looking at them and going, man, I don't know when I'm going to get to use these again. And that's when it really hit me, that we're not going to have any gigs. I don't know how long this is going to go on, and the whole world's shutting down, and it's crazy. But anyway, I keep a dobro sitting on my coffee table at all times. Pass by it and noodle around on it every now and again. And I started playing it that day after I had the amps out of the van, and came up with that song, The Good Lord Will Provide. So I'm not gonna worry about it, nothing. I'm not gonna stress, and it will work out, and the good Lord will provide. And that's where that would come from.
And play for a little while. I'm gonna try not to worry, 'cause the good Lord will provide. Yes, He will. Well, I know He will. Now we need to all come together like we ain't never did before. We need to try and live together stop hating each other. Try to love your brother, no matter what they believe, and bring happiness and peace. Together we can make a change. Well, I know the good Lord will provide. I know He will.
Our next artist is Memphis bluesman, singer, and guitarist Mr. Levester Big Lucky Carter, who was born in 1922 in Mississippi and passed away in 2002. Big Lucky served in the Army in World War II and played local gigs for most of his career. In the early 1980s, our friend and ethnomusicologist Dr. David Evans heard and met Big Lucky at a local Memphis nightclub and recorded some of Lucky's music with other local blues artists on a couple of CDs that were recorded by Dr. Evans, and we featured on our podcast numbers 132 and 136. From those podcasts, here Dr. Evans shares some of his thoughts on Big Lucky Carter.
Big Lucky Carter. Pleasure for your treasure. Big Lucky was he was a genius. He was a songwriter. Big Lucky was from down in French Camp, Mississippi, way down on the Natchez Trace, and he was born in 1922. He left Mississippi in World War II, joined the Army, and in an all-black unit, they sent him to New Guinea, fighting the Japanese in the jungle there. It was awful. That had a major effect on him. It made him into a pretty big drinker, and he survived. And he came to Memphis, and he was a very intellectual guy. He was in politics. He ran a little printing press. He did a lot of different things. He was one of the few artists in this scene that had recorded for high records for one of the big companies. Back in, I think it was 1969, just a little bit before Al Green and Ann Peebles broke big on high, they recorded a few blues artists. Finally, Mike Vernon, the great British producer. I had produced an album for Mike back in the 60s for his Blue Horizon label of Roosevelt Holt's Mississippi singer, and we kind of kept in touch, and he heard about Big Lucky and wrote me, do you want to co-produce a CD by Big Lucky for some label that he'd gotten connected with? And I said, yeah, I'd always wanted to. And so we had a pretty good deal for him, and we got him into a studio. Big Lucky picked the musicians. They were all old buddies of his, and they're all kind of up in age.
As Dr. Evans mentioned, in 1998, Dr. Evans and Mike Vernon co-produced an album of Big Lucky Carter's music titled Big Lucky Carter, Lucky 13. On it, Big Lucky sings and plays guitar and is accompanied by John Willie Perry on blues harp, Lindbergh Nelson on piano, William Boogeyman Hubbard on keyboard, Leroy Martin on guitar, Melvin Lee on bass, and L.T. Lewis on drums. Now here's one of my favorites from that album. Here's Monkey Tongue.
Going down to New Orleans, the hot beat behind the sun. Gotta have me some of that good old monkey tongue. Going down to New Orleans, gonna hide behind the sun. I gotta have some of that old monkey tongue. I had a buddy, Funky John, almost got killed about monkey tongue. I had a buddy called Funky John, almost got killed about that old monkey tongue. Now come here, woman, don't you run. I gotta have a monkey tongue. Come here, woman, don't you run. I gotta have some of that old monkey tongue. I was in the counter having fun, getting me a whole lot of that monkey tongue. I was in the corner having fun. I had to have that old monkey tongue. Now come here, woman, don't you run. Gotta have me some of that good old monkey tongue. Come here, woman, don't you run. I gotta have some of that old monkey tongue.
Now we'll feature a blues man who did not make it to the very top of the blues world, but had a hell of a journey and created a hell of a party wherever he and his band performed. Mr. Theodore Roosevelt Taylor was born in Mississippi in 1915 and passed away at the age of 60 in 1975 of lung cancer. Theodore Taylor started his musical pursuits early in life and moved to Chicago in 1942 to seek a better life. Then in 1957, he picked up on the playing style of rising blues legend Mr. Elmore James, who served as Taylor's musical role model. Theodore Taylor's wild personality, taste for whiskey, and the hot pursuit of women earned him the eternal nickname Hound Dog. After assembling his small band, the House Rockers, featuring his vocals and lead guitar, along with Brewer Phillips on second guitar and Ted Harvey on drums, this three-man band created a six-man band sound, and their great live performances regularly turned into all-night 6- and 7-hour shows. Fun was had by all. Then in 1969, a 22-year-old Bruce Aguilar was working for Delmark Records founder Bob Coster in Chicago when he saw a performance by Hound Dog Taylor and his House Rockers. Bruce tried to convince Bob Kester to record this incredible group to no avail. So in 1971, he took $2,500 of his own money and started Alligator Records, with its first effort being an album titled Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers. The success of this first Alligator Records album sent this little independent record label soaring and kicked off Hound Dog Taylor and his House Rockers' international career. Here from a November 22nd and 24th, 1974 live album recording from the Smiling Dog Saloon in Cleveland, Ohio, and released by Alligator in 1976, a year after Hound Dog Taylor's death, entitled Beware the Dog, is this Hound Dog Taylor salute to Taylor's mentor, Mr. Elmore James. Here's Dust My Broom.
I got 3 shows tonight, honey. We're going to have some fun until 5 o'clock. If the police going to stop. Because I don't care.
almost exactly 1 year after our friend Peter Malick recorded I'm a Bad Boy with Otis Spann that we heard earlier in this show. In April 1970, under much different conditions, Peter produced and recorded an album with Otis Spann titled Otis Spann, Last Call Live at the Boston Tea Party. These would be Otis Spann's last recordings before his death. From our interview with Peter Malick for our podcast number 239, Peter shares how that recording came about. Mr. Spann's last album.
Yeah.
To me, it's incredible. It's when you put it into perspective and realize that the guy was sick.
Yeah, I mean, he was weeks away from when he passed. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's incredible that that he was still knocking it out and playing as well as he played. I mean, that's phenomenal. How did you guys come together to decide to do that recording? And can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I had been in touch, with Spann at times where, a lot of times he wouldn't have a telephone. I had spent the summer before in Chicago, mostly the whole summer with him and living in the apartment he had, which was like on, 4111 Greenwood Ave, South Greenwood Ave, which no longer exists. I think it's a vacant lot right now. And well, it should be because it wasn't exactly a luxurious apartment building. So I spent that summer with him. And the last time I was there was, I think, later in September in Chicago. And I was like, whoa, the wind was coming in off the lake. And so anyway, I ended up not exactly going back to balmy Boston, but nevertheless, I came back home and did some other stuff. And sometime in the winter, Lucille had been in touch with me, and she said that Spann had been sick. He'd been in the hospital, but he was out of the hospital now, and what was going on, and could they come to Boston and do something? So the original Boston Tea Party, which was at 53 Berkeley Street, had moved into a bigger club right by Fenway Park. And there was this club called 53 Berkeley Street that was started up, and they were trying to sort of emulate the early days of the Boston Tea Party. And the owner was having trouble getting licensing from the city of Boston. But anyway, I got involved with them, and we planned a gig for Spann, and it was those 3 days that became the album. And I hadn't spoken to him at all. The old Boston Tea Party, there was 2 huge flights of stairs that would go up to where the old ballroom was. And so I was there on the afternoon of the gig, and, I heard they got into town, and I was at the club trying to get some stuff set up. And they climbed up to the top of the stairs, and I saw him, and it was just such a shock. I mean, he was, half of the weight that he'd been before. He had this huge clot on his forehead, which was something unrelated to, he died of liver cancer. It was just, I mean, of course it was wonderful to see him, but it was just so shocking to see him. And so, needless to say, for all of us, it was just an amazingly emotional gig. And I really wanted to, his hands were weak. He obviously could still play. He could, he's probably, playing today. And in some way, I mean, that's all he did. But I wanted to sort of, I guess, craft the set so that it stayed sort of low key so he didn't get lost. This was definitely about him. And so that was kind of the vibe of the record. We wanted him to have his showcase, to have his spotlight, because it certainly appeared that it was not going to be long, that he wasn't going to be around for very long. So what happened with the club was the night of the gig, I think like 3 or 4 hours before the gig, this is after they arrived, the owner came to me, it's like, Boston won't give us a license to do it live. And so we were trying to scramble to figure out a way to do it. They finally, evidently the police said, all right, if you don't charge admission, you can do it. And so that's what we did. I think the first night was Thursday, didn't charge admission. Friday, they didn't charge admission. Saturday, they closed them down. And I called Don Law, who was like the manager of the new Boston Tea Party, and told him what was going on. And he put together a set. He opened up a set so that he could perform and do the gig. And we did, so he did that one at the Boston Tea Party. I don't remember whether the recording, if it was actually recorded at the Boston Tea Party, but it may have been.
On this selection, Otis's wife, Lucille Spann, sang and was accompanied by Otis Spann on piano, album producer Peter Malick on guitar, Ted Parkins on bass, and Richard Ponte on drums with My Man.
'cause you never treat me right. Tell me all sweet lies, and you know that ain't right. He left me on Friday evening, and he said he'd be right back. Left me on Friday evening, and he said he'd be right back. It is Thursday evening, and he haven't got back yet. Play the blues, boy. Yeah. One more time. Mommy don't love me, 'cause he never treat me right. Mommy don't love me, 'cause he never treat me right. If he love me like he's saying, wow, he wouldn't stay out all night. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Now, as my childhood blues hero, Mr. Piano Red, used to say as he signed off his Atlanta radio show with, "I hate to left you, but I got to win." So now we'll leave you with my friend and blues man, Mr. Mud Morganfield, who is the eldest son of super blues legend Mr. Muddy Waters. Mud was born Larry Williams in Chicago in 1954 and was raised by his mother, Ms. Mildred Williams, and her 7 brothers on the west side of Chicago. Following his father Muddy's death in 1983, Mud Morganfield decided to pursue the blues professionally. One of Mud Morganfield's latest releases from Delmark Records is a great gospel we'll close out this show with. On it, Mud Morganfield sings and plays bass and is accompanied by Rick Cryer and Mike Wheeler on guitars, Luca Chanelli on keys, Cameron Lewis on drums and percussion. Backing vocals are provided by Felicia Collins, Shantina Lowe, and Demetrius Hall on Mud Morganfield's Praise Him. And thank you all for listening.
Woke up one morning and I couldn't see. I couldn't see the forest out beyond the trees. Then a voice said to me, I'm gonna set you free. And all I'll ask of you, you tell the people about me. And I'm gonna praise him. I'm gonna praise him. Let me praise him for saving me. Must have been out of my mind. Told myself I woke me every time. The same voice said to me, son, take a knee. Gonna tell you something that might set you free. And I'm gonna praise him. I'm gonna praise him. Y'all let me praise him for saving me. Heart, I kept him in my soul. The things I used to do, I just don't do no more. All of my friends turned their backs on me, but he stood right there and made sure I was free. And I'm gonna praise him. I'm gonna praise him. Will y'all let me praise him for saving me?
Turn me around, place my feet on solid ground. Pick me up, turn me around, place my feet on solid ground.
I get knocked down, but God would pick me up. He told me he was the only one to try. All of my friends let me down. heart always stood around. So I'm gonna praise him. I'm gonna praise him. Y'all let me praise him for saving me.
For saving me.
Praise him in the morning.
Praise him in the morning.
Praise him in the evening.
Praise him in the evening.
Gonna praise him at night.
Praise him at night.
When I can't sleep.
When I can't sleep.
Now I understand those footprints in the sand. When I couldn't walk, he carried me in his hands. And I'm gonna praise him for saving me.